United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Linda Bailey.
Here.
Pam Griner.
Here.
Brenda Cagle.
Here.
Val Reagan. Julie Drew.
Here.
Rebecca Kern. Here. Judy Strong. Present.
Public participation, and we have none present, so we'll go on to our action items. We have a motion, please, for E1.
I'm sorry, go.
Go ahead. I make a motion to approve the expenditures for maintenance grant electrical project with hold on. With Laser Electric in the amount of $8,600. Is that what you want to do?
Well, it's a motion to get discussion, so.
Second.
Well,
I'm sorry, who did the second?
Mrs. Reagan.
Laser is the least of the two, least expensive.
It's the least of the two, and honestly, it didn't seem like it was that much. It didn't seem much energy to do on, really.
Yeah, like I said, it's the only thing was they did it lesser from what,
It's not. Right.
this company's pretty reputable.
yes, both of these companies were suggested to me by the Village Engineering Corporation. So, I don't know them personally, but I've taken her recommendation. So, Overlander does our. Is this the same Overlander that does the? Are they a benefactor of the alarm system people? Or are they completely different? Okay. Just ask a question. So that's like I said, the only difference that I can see with some of the material costs inside and probably the labor cost, but it's not broken out. So.
Any other discussion?
Well, the cost at Homewood is substantially lower. Like $1,000 low, almost $1,000. That to me, I don't know. Either Overlaser was overcharging or Laser left something out. I don't know.
They were both furnished with the supplies.
Okay.
The supply list and the architect's drawings.
Okay.
All of them came in and received the same copies. The only thing that I can say is that the Homewood job was also the Homewood job itself being just alarm pulls was I initially contacted Thompson Electric, who does our alarm system electricals, and so I contacted them about the Homewood part of this, and they determined that it wasn't much of a job that they wanted to get involved in because they're not qualified to do the other stuff with the electrical panels, okay, which is a different grade up of electric. So when I called Thompson Electric, I said, hey, you guys didn't send me anything, and she was like, well, we just kind of decided it wasn't something that we need to get involved in, but another company contacted us, and we just decided that we would let them go ahead, we'd sell them the product, and they could just take the job. So I think, and I don't know, but I think a Laser might have gotten a pretty good deal on parts. That's the only thing I can think of. And that's all speculation on my part from a conversation with the Thompson Electric lady.
just seemed a little odd, because the other prices weren't that far off, but that Homewood price was way lower, so it just kind of, I just wondered,
Sure.
yeah.
But the scope of work, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 on laser are almost the same as 1, 2, and 3 on Overlander.
Right,
So-
right. Okay. I just wondered that.
Sure, I agree.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Roll call.
Linda Bailey,
Aye.
Pam Griner,
Aye.
Brenda Cagle,
Aye.
Val Reagan, Julie True,
Aye.
Rebecca Kern, aye, Judy Strong. Motion carried.
We need a motion, please, for E2.
Make a motion to approve the expenditure for maintenance grant plumbing project with the Tazewell Plumbing in the amount of
Hey,
14.
hold on. I would like to amend that to in the amount of $17,300, and I'll explain in a second.
In the amount of $17,300.
Second.
Excuse me. When reviewing the architect's plans, I saw at a later date, Friday, that the fixtures that he had spec'd out on the plans were normal fixtures for the plumbing and the water and the lavatories and the sinks. So since we've had such problems with water in the bathrooms not turning off, not happening, and still running and those kind of things, I contacted the owner of Caswell Plumbing and said, could you revise your proposal to give us touchless automatic fixtures so that we have kids, they put their hands on the water, take their hands off, it stops. And same thing with urinals, same thing with the commodes. So that was the revised proposal, just changing it to touchless automatic fixtures. So that was why the increase was. Sorry. And I suppose if the board wants to stay with those same items and plumbing fixtures that were provided in the architect's drawings, we could definitely do that too. And it's a lesser cost. So there's a couple options, I guess.
So it's how many fixtures for the 27 extra?
5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
But then the toilets are upgraded to that as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the toilets, the lavatory sinks, and the urinals. So,
$2,700 might help us also keep our kids in school a little longer without being a signature and all the germs maybe as well.
That's a good thought.
That's just automatic water on top of it.
Well, the toilet sewage and all that.
Right.
And those things.
but washing your hands makes you healthy. Keeps you healthy.
They don't know much.
I mean, it doesn't quit. I mean, it doesn't stop us from washing our hands either way. It might help the water bill.
Definitely.
I think it would definitely help let them know.
One of the other things that'll help your water bill is a softening system in both buildings. The hard water here is what has
Oh, yeah.
what
We
clogs
have that at all
up
our houses as well.
clogs up those the fixtures. You know, the push down plungers, the vacuum seals in the commodes and the flushers, the hard water, and this is what they're telling me, and I guess I believe the plumbers.
We're known for very hard water. in this
So
area.
would it irritate also the automatic ones to stop them from working?
eventually as the buildup, but since they don't have the mechanical stuff inside, you know, because that's the thing, the turn, you know, the twisty knobs and the push downs on the sinks, that's what gets corroded up, and then they lock up, and then they stay open or closed, and so I'm hoping that will relieve that problem, but it's still something to think about as far as the water is concerned. But that's not here. I digress. So.
What about the other units we put in? I think it was just the faucets that automatically shut off. Have we had any problems with that?
Automatically shut off where?
The water.
Where?
Faucet.
Which one?
That was sound. Remember the night you had to go in and turn it off for Kelly?
Those aren't touchless, are they?
No, they're not touchless.
In the
No.
women's bathroom?
Right. They're
Push
not
them down and then they
touchless.
run for
Oh, okay. You're right.
certain amount of time.
It was running.
Yeah, they're automatic. They're automatic shut off because
Okay.
when you push down on it,
Touchless.
yeah, when you push down on it, it's supposed to come back up and stop
Okay.
and close the sink off. Well, it gets that hard corrosion, the hard line makes it hard for it to come back up. So it.
In theory, it's less water usage, so you do not have as much hard water running through there, so it's a great problem.
But it's still, yeah. No, that's what Toby who replaces this stuff, Toby Grove, he also said that's what happens to these things. He said, you know, and it doesn't take long, 4 or 5 months, and it starts to, attach itself, the minerals and deposits. So either way, I just thought that the touchless fixtures would be something that would make sense in an elementary school.
So that kind of, the same coverage on the sinks, just the faucets.
No, new everything, new fixtures, yeah. New commodes, new urinals, new toilets. The biggest part of it is the new piping underneath.
But not the surface, is what it is. Doesn't sound like it's the surface.
Yeah, all that stuff's going and being installed. Right. Yep.
These are the 2 bathrooms across from the cafeteria.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. And we have to remove all of the fixtures so that M&O can come in and take up the asbestos tile, get that out of there so that we can come back in and do the remodel.
We have a motion on the floor for the 17,300. Ready for roll call? Roll call, please.
Linda Bailey,
Aye.
Pam Griner,
Aye.
Brenda Cagle,
Aye.
Val Reagan,
Aye.
Julie Troop,
Aye.
Rebecca Kern, aye. Judy Strong,
Yes.
motion carried.
Moving on to action item C3, motion please.
I make a motion to approve the expenditure for maintenance grant asbestos abatement with M&O Environmental in the amount of $5,200.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I don't know what, it just has to be done.
So it's the $5,200, is it the, I guess I can add here.
So it's the stairs, rows, parking, south bathroom.
Yes. So it's base bid, Parkview 17-inch stair treads, floor tile and mastic, our price of for the sum of $2,900. And then alternate number 2 would include LaSalle School bathroom, approximately 200 square feet, floor tile and mastic, for a price of $2,300.
I guess I'm confused as to how you get 5,200 out of those three numbers.
Yeah, because they don't
Using
add
one or
up.
the other, you're using an alternate.
I know, but if I add this one together, it's 4,400, or if I add this and this. Is it the 29 and the 23?
Yeah.
2,300, right.
Okay.
Yes, 5,200 there. The alternate number 1 was 10 stair treads each. And there was no, that's because some of the stair treads are, they're not broken like, the 10 of them are broken pretty significantly. The other 7, not so much, but it doesn't make sense to do just part of the job if you're going to have them there to come in. They might as well do the entire stairwell for an extra $800. That's my thinking. If the board wants to just do 10, that's your choice.
Be more specified to have them out.
Right.
Right.
Roll call, please.
Linda Bailey,
Aye.
Pam Griner,
Aye.
Brenda Cagle,
Aye.
Julie, or Val Reagan,
Aye.
Julie True,
Aye.
Becca Kern, aye, Denise Knott. Motion carried.
Action item E4, please.
Make a motion to approve the expenditures for the maintenance grant, general construction with S&S Builders Hardware in the amount of $13,250.
Second.
Could you explain on page 2 of this, Homewood Heights, the second floor double egress doors?
Yes, second floor double egress doors. In the middle of the hallway, there's in the middle of the upstairs hallway, there are 2 doors, and double egress, meaning that they're open both the same way. Okay? And there is, if the door is to be held open, wall magnets are to be required. Because these are fire safety doors, the way the guy explained it to me is that they should open like that, the other way. So one goes one way, one goes the other way, and they stick to the wall and they open. So that is my understanding of all of this, and to be wired through the alarm system and all of that. If you have any other questions as to why it's supposed to be that way or anything like that, I can have them come in and explain it, but that's what they tell me is
Are they
code.
required? Could we just not take them, couldn't we take them down and say $5,675?
It's a fire thing. It's to block fire. Like when you have a fire, you have to close the doors to contain fire.
Well, they would be hooked up
So
with
they're
fire
fire
alarms.
doors.
Right.
So they automatically.
Well,
So they automatically close.
Shut.
But since it's already an older building, do we have to redo it? I mean, sometimes they let you have grandfathered in.
Well, hang on.
I mean, I just wonder,
No, I
since we don't really use the building.
I
That was my-
understand completely.
Who knows if
Okay.
it will continue to be used as a student facility.
Great. Okay. If we look, that is non-grant, that is a non-grant work.
Right.
Homewood School number 1 is non-grant. That was openings specified by Shane Aldridge, because that was something that is on our health, life, safety report, that if we're going to, continue to maintain Homewood School, we would have until 2016 to have that done, those doors done. So that's why I had them give me a price. Okay. Do we have to do it today? No. That's non-grant work, and if you go to, I had to use the same paper for both parts of this. If you go to E6, that's where it goes to the non-maintenance grant project, and I talk about the South School and Parkview School. And I don't include the Homewood non-grant in that.
So if we had till 2006.
Teen.
Or 16.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Especially
Yeah.
gonna make a decision about
Yes,
Homewood.
I just wanted to know how much it cost, because it was something that was on our life safety. I figured if they're coming out, I was just gonna ask them about, the things that are on our list.
Right.
So, it's not being suggested or recommended for approval. That Homewood School openings, number one, Homewood School, that non-grant is not being asked for approval.
So even if we have it in a motion, doesn't mean that we necessarily have to spend that money and have that work done, that Homewood project.
I'll have to minus the money.
The money's not in any of these figures. I didn't include that.
Because it's, the motion is for
Sorry.
grant work.
the motion is for grant
That's for
work, so
non-grant
this is
work.
the grant one.
Okay.
This is
Well, I
just the
get
bid
it.
on everything.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I had,
Okay, I didn't understand.
okay, no, that's okay. I had used the same, they put it all on one.
Yes.
You got grant work and you got non-grant work,
Yeah,
so
you
that's
get
why I kind of,
parking and non-grant work.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're only asking for
For the
approval
grant
of the
work.
grant work?
For
Yeah.
this motion is correct.
Yeah.
Now I got it.
Thank you, sorry.
That's,
Okay.
Okay. Since they put it all on one, we've got, on the front page, we've got Homewood School grant work, $7,655,
correct.
okay? And then on the back, we've got a Parkview School grant work, $13,250.
Right.
There's no work at Homewood grant work, is there? That's all non-grant.
No, this one is the gym door, the boiler room, and the boiler room stair
Right.
is in the grant. Okay, it is grant work. That's
But you're not including it in,
not my recommendation
Not
until,
your recommendation.
until we, it doesn't make sense in my mind to spend $8,000 on doors if we don't know what we're going to do
Yeah.
with the building till 2016.
Yeah.
I
So-
agree, I was just making sure that
Yes.
wasn't supposedly somewhere over here.
Oh, okay, no,
So what we're looking at is
I'm
like
confused.
Yeah, this is.
What does the $13,250?
It's only Parkview.
Parkview School.
Just parking?
No, because it's Homewood gym door, Homewood boiler room, and.
No.
No, he said everything was combined on one page.
It's only Parkview School on the back. It's
Parkview
north
School,
and
page
south
2.
Interior
So this
gym
is
doors.
just for
Remove
parking.
and replace frames, doors.
It's
Seems like a lot of money for gym house.
This expenditure grant is just for the parking.
I'd say Parkview opening grant doors are $13,250.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
I,
I mean, I understand it now.
Yeah, we're clear now.
well, I don't,
Okay.
I didn't.
$13,250. I mean,
Got it
For
now.
the frame and everything. The big doors.
To approve the expenditures for the maintenance grant, general construction with SMS.
north and south exterior gym doors.
In the amount of $13,250 for the Parkview School.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
That's not right.
I just did. To approve the expenditures for the maintenance maintenance grant, general construction with S&S Builders Hardware in the amount of $13,250 for the park from school grant work. Are y'all happy with that?
And for
For the north, south, exterior gym doors, remove and repair frame doors and hardware. Replace frames, doors, and hardware.
Yep.
$13,250.
That's what you originally said also, wasn't it?
No.
No.
She
no.
just read this
Saying it's
right here.
grant.
she added
Oh,
all of
she
this. in.
I added the whole entire thing. Is that cool with everyone?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I think that's why I was getting confused. I was thinking all the
Well,
grant work.
it was just
It
all
said
written
grant
in
work.
here and then this is separated out. So
Yeah.
Okay, I'm fine.
I didn't make that connection until towards the end. That's all.
For the north and south
Exterior gym doors.
exterior gym doors,
Remove and replace frames,
Doors.
doors, and hardware.
remove and replace the frames, doors, and hardware.
Any other comments? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any roll call, please?
Linda Bailey,
Aye.
Pam Griner, Brenda Cagle,
Aye.
Val Reagan,
Aye.
Julie Drew,
Aye.
Rebecca Kern, aye, and Judy Strong.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving on to action item 8.5, motion please.
Make the motion to approve the expenditure for the maintenance grant masonry project with M.R. Mason contractor or Autobahn. Which one are we doing?
Yeah, for both, I guess. That masonry.
I guess
Yeah,
M.R.
M.R.
Mason
Mason.
contractor, amount of $3,300. Second.
Second.
The only reason that, or the only detail that I can say that is, struck my mind here is that Autobahn Company is going right down to the inside wall, and they're going to key out and patch two areas, concrete foundation, and that is more than what M.R. Mason is going to do. They're going to remove the damaged bricks, lay in the new bricks, and do the tuck pointing and put it all back together. The damage, Autobahn is going out beyond the damaged parts, and they're going to saw it down, and then they'll start and do a remason of an entire sections that they've outlined here. Build scaffold around corner building, and where bricks are cracking and splaying, remove and replace 80 courses of bricks with 6 bricks each course at 3 sides of the east elevation corner. So they're taking out a bigger patch. M.R. Mason is taking out the broken stuff and replacing it with new. That's the difference between the two bids. So
This is directly from outside of the district office, is that what I'm telling you?
yes, it is right outside
The
the
one that
district
leads outside.
office. Yeah, the one that from my office that comes out to the field, and then you go just down to the end of that wall right there. That's the no, I'm not sure what it is, maybe. And then it goes into the cafeteria part around the corner. But right there at that corner, there's bricks that are in bad shape and need to be replaced. There's also some brick and masonry work over here at Parkview that needs to be done, but it's only a matter of about 20 to 25 bricks, and Mr. Grove is going to take care of that for us. So. And as noted, the other company, J.J. Brinker Company, did come out and look, but did not then submit a proposal.
Further comments?
So I guess it's the board's determination on whether or not you want to do this replacement of the damage, or if you want to tear it all out and replace a larger segment of the wall.
This time we have a motion on the floor for MR Mason contractors of $3,300. Let's do roll call please on that.
Linda Bailey, Pam Griner, Brenda Cagle,
Aye.
Val Reagan,
Yes.
Julie True,
Aye.
Rebecca Kern, no, Judy Strong.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Eyes for some of you hesitating.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they, I mean,
I
I
didn't know
was,
what would be better,
right, but
but
really didn't discuss it, so, but that was fine.
What?
I mean, no, that's fine, I mean,
What?
I'm okay with it.
I
What
don't
other
know-
discussion,
I don't-
though?
I don't know very much about buildings and masonry. I think probably fixing it is gonna be okay, I just am not sure how long. I mean, is it gonna last 50 years? Is it gonna last 30 years?
This just, other one just seems rather extreme.
Well, but he's putting twice the bricks in.
I didn't know the cracks in the foundation, exactly what that meant, was it leaking, what's going on there? That's
Yeah,
I
what
was
caused
thinking,
the
but-
bricks? Is it because the gutter leaked there? Is that why the bricks
Right.
are bad there? Because if that's the case and we fix the gutter, then it'll be okay to only replace
Exactly.
that many bricks.
And Mr. Aldridge brought to us his recommendation of
That's
one
true.
that we just approved.
Exactly,
Yeah,
you're exactly
okay,
right.
all right, okay.
Moving on, let's have a motion please for action E6.
Make the motion to approve expenditures for non-maintenance grant project for LaSalle and Parkview Schools entrances and doors with SS Builders Hardware in the amount of $4,345.
This is non. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
All right.
You explained to us exactly what this covers.
Yes, this is the non-maintenance grant work for LaSalle School, $2,980, and non-maintenance grant work at Parkview School on the second page for $1,365, $1,365, for a total of 584. Let's see, carry the one, that's a 3, carry a 1, 2, 3, 4, $4,345 for LaSalle School, the very first one on page 1, and Parkview School, the very last one on page 2. Main entrance doors and a bunch of different doors at LaSalle. Now, this is not grant work, so this will not be anything that will be a match for the State Board of Education. So this is a operation and maintenance budget item.
And this is life safety.
It's not.
No, I don't think that any of this falls into the life safety categories because these things have been pretty recent. Your life safety survey was 2006.
Wow.
Yeah, they're 10 years. That's why it comes up at 16. But no, these are just necessary. Parkview School main entrance doors, remove and replace 2 leaking closers and 3 sweeps. They don't close right, and they're leaking water, and they need to be replaced. If you don't want to, that's fine. You can save the money, and you don't have to.
Explain 1 and 2 in the south.
Number 1, hall exterior doors. Remove and replace exterior lever trims to function with key entrance only. Exterior hall doors. Those are the doors for the teacher's lounge and a door at Miss Trotter's classroom. If you remember, when we go in and out of closed session, the teacher's lounge, the little handle, blah, 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 on the inside, it doesn't work, right? Is everybody? Okay.
To go outside.
Okay, so.
To push out, yes, to go out of the teacher's lounge. The door handles do not work. The exterior lever trims to function with a key entrance only.
Yeah, that's the part I don't understand. To function with a key entry only.
So the teachers would have to carry around a key to go into the lounge.
No, I'm not quite sure what this key entry only part is.
Because that's an egress door. I mean, you can't lock it. No, it's used for fire
Right.
drills. That's the part I was concerned about.
It's the door
Key
entry.
entry only.
It's not a egress door.
This
So you're
teacher's
talking
room.
from the hallway down.
It goes into the teacher's lounge.
Into the teacher's lounge, and then the other one's a teacher's classroom. Counselor's office, install half window in existing wooden doors, because we have the school psychologist's office has a full wooden door that has no glass to see through, and just for our liability sake, and it's probably regulation somewhere. Whenever we have an adult with a child and she does do testing in there, we need to have the transparency there to be able to see in, and that's for her safety and ours as well. So that's why it's called a half window. The main entrance doors, again, remove and replace this threshold and sweeps. Modify and adjust doors for bottom latch to engage threshold properly. Oh, never mind. God, I did all that talking and that's not right. Gym exterior doors, remove and replace thresholds and sweeps. Modify to prevent dragging on the threshold. Adjust the hardware. The pins don't drop in anymore. To lock them, boom, they don't drop in. When we had the freeze and all that freezing and everything, the sweep rose up because of the heave, and it warped everything, so they weren't opening and closing properly, and so the pins don't drop in the gym doors. Hall exterior doors. I want to apologize. That's not. Those would have been hall interior doors, the ones I'm talking about. These are hall exterior doors at the end of the hall. All right, at the end of that kindergarten hallway there. Remove and replace exterior lever trims to function with a key entry only. The exterior lever trim is right now, currently, you have to have, how is it? They have to be, we've got a push bar on the inside and you've got a key on the outside. So just because you pull it and it latches, the door latches, it's not necessarily locked. It has to be, you have to have a key, the key that fits, to go outside, and you have to go out and lock it with the key, and then come back and then do the little bar thing with the little wrench, and it pulls out, and then the thing's locked. So it's like a three-step process, and it's been left open. It's been left open a couple of times. So it's been a couple of the alarms notifications that I've gotten. So people just, it doesn't happen. They don't know that you're supposed to do that. I didn't know. I did it once myself. So it is, we're fixing that whole thing to replace the levers with just key entrance only.
Number two,
You
how
have to
many,
have one of those little Allen wrenches,
Right, exactly.
which nobody has.
You got to find them because they're hidden. Yeah.
number two says counselor's offices, how many rooms are covered?
Well, counselor is in the singular, offices is plural. I only have one, and so I don't know why you put offices. So it's only one door that I notified him. Sorry about that mix-up. I was thinking the other two, the floppy latch that's in the teacher's lounge.
So that doesn't
We
get
ordered
fixed.
those. No, it is being fixed.
Okay.
We ordered them, and they haven't arrived yet. So,
I think the other doors are more important.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, that's the main entrance doors and everything, yeah.
So at front door, are we talking about these doors or the front doors?
Front doors are needed.
Front doors at the main entrance, remove and replace the two leaking closers and the three screens. Yeah, that's not these here, but those out there.
The gym is where the maintenance one is. The maintenance.
Yes. The other, the $13,000 is the gym doors, and that's, those are the double doors, and they're heavy steel, and plus $13,000.
Problems with these doors out here.
Not that I've been notified about.
Maybe they're fixed, like.
We're ready for roll call unless somebody,
But as I said, this is non-grant work. It has nothing to do with the maintenance grant projects in any way. This is $4,345 that will come out of the operations and maintenance line item, but budget fund, whatever line item it needs to be. And I'm sure that Shelley will, I'll work with her to make sure it comes out of the exact line item that it needs to be, so that there's no confusion as to where this is being paid from, and that it is not grant money.
So there is money in the budget, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
roll call.
Linda Bailey.
Aye.
Pam Griner.
Aye.
Brenda Cagle.
Aye.
Val Reagan.
Aye.
Julie True.
Aye.
Rebecca Kern. Aye. Judy Strong. Motion carried.
We need a motion to go into executive session.
I make the motion to enter into closed session for appointment, employment, performance, and termination of personnel and collective negotiation matters between the public body and the School Service Personnel Association.
Roll call.
Linda Bailey.
Aye.
Pam Griner. Brenda Cagle.
Aye.
Val Reagan. Julie True. Rebecca Kern. Aye. Judy Strong. Motion carried.
Do we need a motion, please, to enter regular session.
Make the motion to resume regular session.
Second.
Roll call.
Linda Bailey.
Aye.
Pam Griner.
Aye.
Brenda Cagle.
Aye.
Val Reagan. Julie True.
Aye.
Rebecca Kern. Aye. Judy Strong. Motion carried.
We have certain areas to discuss back in open session. The first one being math interventionist. Open that up. Mr. Aldridge, do you want to begin that discussion for us?
Would the board prefer to have a motion and a second and then have discussion? Is that, I would just put that out there as procedural.
Okay, let's do the motion then.
It was just for discussion.
Math intervention.
Make a motion to,
You can always table the motion, you can, and Ms. Griner, if you got another alternative, Ms. Bailey got another
enter into
alternative.
discussions
Well,
for
no,
the
I'm
math
just-
interventionist.
I'm just laying it out.
I make a motion to enter into discussions regarding a math interventionist position. Should I say it to Lizelle?
No. I second.
Enter. Discussion.
Just shut up.
Regarding creation of a math interventionist position. I'm sorry.
Yes.
With Mr. Sorensen's retirement as the Parkview math interventionist, we need to discuss ways to cover that position or removal of it.
Do we need to do the roll call to discuss this?
Second.
Well, I think at this,
No, second.
I think at this time, Mrs. Troop
Not to
seconded.
Yeah,
discuss.
I think at this time, we just need to get some data before we can even discuss creating a position for a math interventionist.
What kind of data do you are you asking?
I have no idea. Mrs. Bailey, what kind of data do you think we need?
Mr. Sorensen had a selected few students, correct? When he was here?
That is correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
he had them based on their MAP scores.
Okay, what kind of data would MAPS scores give us?
For math?
MAPS? For MAPS, for math.
Yes, maps for math.
Right.
So you want to see like how many kids would qualify for his help according to their math score?
At both schools.
Okay.
And if we're already doing a math interventionist, I mean, it would be nice to also help the kids who not struggle, the
Like
gifted
the bubble
kids.
kids?
He used to do that, Mr. Sorensen.
Did
It
he
wasn't
get
just the kids that
Yeah.
struggled, it was also the gifted kids.
He did do that. He went to LaSalle and did that
Yes.
a couple years. Yeah.
Okay, that's not been since I've been here.
No.
No, but he
Okay.
did. He-
So I mean, it would be nice to help.
I think it got to the point where he had so many kids here that he was.
I don't know what happened.
The scores are going to bring
Oh, you
discussion
got
on that.
Maybe.
But it would be interesting also to see the LaSalle scores, to see comparison between, let's say, fourth grade math testing versus fifth grade math testing when they both, like pass testing. I don't know how easy that would be to do, but if they drop dramatically or,
I almost have to look at third, fourth, and fifth to see if they're dropping even to fourth grade.
I
You know,
agree.
you just, I mean, just fourth and fifth is probably not gonna do it, to see if these kids are on a trend.
And
I don't
Mrs.
know.
Callahan is in charge of that, nodding that it can be done.
Yeah, we can get all their MAP scores since they've ever started taking MAP and know and see them in
and
fall,
you can look at
spring,
a
winter.
trend. Yeah, you can, because I.
And then could you also get Excellers out of that to show how many Excellers we might be talking about for intervention too?
A couple meetings ago, it was mentioned that the current RTI personnel also help with math. Can we get some data on how much time they spend helping with math? I believe that it came up a couple meetings ago, and that's what I was told.
Yeah, you know, I think also a teacher came from fourth grade, the one who's doing, she does, not with Solomon Learning Center. Yeah, in fourth grade. She's a fourth grade teacher. She came and talked to us, and she's one of ours that also works with, after-school kids. And she said they do come in and help with math.
The after-school
That's-
program.
No, she said she does it after school, but she said during the school day, these kids are also helped.
They
what I
help,
thought I got
yeah, they
somewhere.
do
Yeah.
some
She's
programs,
in the yard
yeah.
helping.
Miss Thurman, I think.
I don't remember.
And
seeing it.
that's our computer programs, we don't have an
It's math,
individual.
they are doing
Yeah.
math, symphony
No, because I
math.
asked
Symphony
if
math.
Maps
Oh.
gave us that data, because I didn't know Maps did anything other than read.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's what I was saying, Mr. Sorensen does it here, but like at LaSalle, they use symphony math. I know.
Computer software.
Here. She uses it.
So we need to see what the data will provide us to see if we need the interventionist or not.
More students.
If we need a full-time, both school
Versus a
or
part-time.
versus a part-time, one school.
Right.
Then do you also want the upper end as well?
Yes.
Potential, it could be.
Doesn't
it could
matter,
be
we can just look at it,
possible.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
we wanna
mean,
look at it.
We gotta help.
There may be so many lower ends that it.
We never help
That's
the
usually
upper
what that
end.
is.
No.
I think there's some upper end kids that are doing a grade above in math. I think that's what they're doing. Because there's some sixth graders in Abigail's seventh grade math. I don't know how many of them there are, but I know that there's a couple.
And I don't know what happens when they get into eighth grade.
I have no idea.
That's
It's been
the
a problem in the past.
They go pre-algebra.
That's,
They do a lot, the group already does pre-algebra. We already have that. I mean, sometimes the seventh graders are doing pre-algebra
It
in seventh
depends on our
grade, and then they go to
curriculum.
eighth grade.
Yeah.
but that's the problem, because
Right.
that's that law that came down, that stupid law where they don't get credit for algebra
But we can
if
still
they're
teach
not
it.
at,
Yeah.
I know, but then they're taking it again.
Unless their math scores are high enough and they can pop out of it.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
So let's just teach it.
Yeah.
So really what we're doing is.
What data do we want?
I think you got
Yeah.
what we
just
want.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just.
Both schools' data, math scores in the math area, third, fourth, and fifth grade students, both at the higher and the lower ends. Is that correct?
Well, we probably have to also know the scores of seventh, sixth, seventh, and eighth, because you kind of need to know how many is gonna help.
Okay, so.
She just wanted to look at the trend for that group, didn't you?
Well, I just wanted to see a trend from elementary to
Middle
junior
school.
high, if they have a dramatic drop. I don't know. This is to kind of help me, I guess, figure out whether we really needed it at LaSalle versus we only needed it at Parkview.
Right. And then the cost of a part-time and a full-time interventionist, I believe, would be another area that we need
Cost.
cost.
I have a question on that. If you had a part-time, only teaching 2 classes a day, would they have to be highly qualified? Isn't it if they teach 3 or more, they have to be highly qualified?
I don't remember that as a stipulation or qualification, but that's something that can be looked into, whether it's 2 or 3 classes. I just don't remember that, I'm sorry.
Because it wouldn't be much help, only a couple hours.
I was
Are
thinking maybe do
individuals
it,
the same as a whole class?
I mean, like, they would do it all day long.
If you only had a few students at a time, is that the same as teaching a whole class?
Yes.
So they would
I
have
was
time
thinking
to
2
qualify.
part-time people.
Will it
So I was
function
trying to.
in the day of the,
Might not be highly
I wonder if
qualified.
you're gonna have pull-outs, right? You got pull-outs from reading, you're talking about pull-outs
Full-time
for.
and part-time teacher.
That's true. And now you're working in another whole area, except that they do, all of the grade levels do have their interventions, you know, at those certain levels and at those certain times. So all of the second graders are going to math and getting their interventions, tier 1 through tier 3. So you would have, if we had a person at LaSalle, that person would be taking the most needy or at-risk students to bring them along, and then focus on the higher end as well. So it's something that is a scheduling kind of issue, but yeah, it'd be something we have to look at. So, but that could come, you've got to create the position first before you worry about schedules.
Okay. Any other?
Plus comparisons, map scores.
Unless there's further inquiries for Mr. Aldridge to do, are we ready to go on to a vote, a roll call?
Something about it.
There's something about our asbestos.
Nothing to
Motion
vote
to
on.
discuss.
Just
Motion to enter
because we're
into discussion.
discussing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
So
we're
this
ready to go
motion
on
is-
then to the next discussion area of secretarial position for special ed.
How did we want to?
Kind of the same way.
Let's discuss it.
Make a motion to enter into discussions regarding, hiring creating a position for an special educational secretary
Yep.
You did it.
for, like what?
That's fine.
I'm tired of things, so.
There you go. Second?
I second.
Sorry. Okay. It was, what I heard was, that there was a request for job descriptions, to see if there was still a special education secretary job description, to look at that. And also to, look at the special, or to bring to the board special education coordinators job description, and the necessity of this came from the Labor Management Relations Committee and teachers' request for secretarial help in the education, special education paperwork.
So this would be a full-time position?
Would it? Wasn't before. It was kind of yes, and then became part-time, right?
Well, could you provide us some data showing that it needs to be full-time or part-time? I mean, because I have no idea how many hours.
The job description might help right there too.
Sure. And then,
Well, if there is a need for full-time
Right,
versus a
right.
need for part-time.
When she worked, just a couple hours a day or something, or
She
two.
started out part-time, then went full-time because we couldn't keep up with the load. And then I think due to health issues, she went down to so many days a week.
And the district secretary and bookkeeper were filling in for her.
We had a lot higher numbers at that time.
Our numbers have went down.
Numbers have pretty much stayed the same.
He said they
Oh,
had
they
stayed.
stayed the same.
I thought they went down a few meetings ago.
They changed it weekly.
I mean, I thought we were like at one point over 100, now we're down to like 70 or something.
no, we're at 153 right now.
Oh, so we were still up there.
Yeah.
We're at 153.
That one report was real low.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was like
going
70-ish.
off
Maybe
Speech
that's it.
students.
Oh.
When you take out speech
Okay.
out of there, then you have special education students who get the special education services. Then you have speech services, which is another 70.
So speech
kids or
went
so.
down to 70.
No, speech has always been speech has always been real high. Yeah, and that's to be expected at the the lower levels. Yeah, that's not uncommon.
Right.
What did happen was the district brought back its programs, the two programs. So while that didn't reduce any numbers, it also was a signal to staff about, okay, we're not going to be so liberal as opening the floodgates to special education. It's just wide open. So with the interventions that we're doing and the steps you have to put through, now, yeah, we're about 85 or so students in the instructional curriculum programs. Yeah. Yeah.
Which leads
So
us
85 is a lot more than it used to be.
to,
I don't know.
which leads us to the next area that we need a motion for discussion on, special ed staffing with our numbers. Have a motion on that, please, for discussion and possible creation.
I make a motion that we enter into discussions to look at creating, special education staffing, additional staffing for special education.
Thank you. A second, please?
Second.
Could you give us a
Sorry.
list of special ed students per grade level?
No.
A list of?
Numbers.
Like numbers.
Oh, a number?
Yeah,
Sure.
not the
But that's, no, I don't
Okay.
want the students,
Yeah.
just the
Oh,
number.
okay. Yeah,
The
yeah,
number per grade level.
that's fine. Give you all the classes, numbers specifically. And you'll see that, like I said, the preliminary data
And
that we
class,
have.
and class size maybe with how many teachers per aide currently?
That's a good idea.
Does that make sense?
We are
Does that
doing
make sense?
inclusion
Yes.
completely, right, in every grade level.
Pardon?
Inclusion in every class, or is it called that now, or something else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Special ed teacher. You're not supposed to. Right, that's what you know.
Counting the cost and also
Costs.
employees, adding additional employees.
I don't know, is
It's not
that,
all that paperwork.
this is something I'm gonna have to,
It's like not charging.
the secretarial position is not so time sensitive as the math interventionist and the special education staffing. So,
What do you mean by special education staff? Do you mean more teachers
Staffing,
or
yeah.
more aides?
teachers.
Okay, I was just kind of wondering where the.
The numbers, he spoke to us in the packet.
The numbers who are or will be eligible for special education services next year are coming in. Preliminary data is indicating that with all the students who've moved into our district with current IEPs and our own natural eligible students, we will most likely start the 14-15 school year with all of our special education classrooms filled to capacity. This being said, we also have a transitory student population, so will probably face the need for hiring another special education classroom teacher for each school.
I was just making sure that we,
Okay.
something didn't change.
No, that's what I wrote.
Where is the need
What I wrote.
right now that you see it? One at each building, I understand that.
Right, right.
But don't we have, without using names, we have a teacher, a special ed teacher for third grade, one for fourth grade? No?
No. We have an an inclusion teacher for K-1, 2,
Okay.
and then we had an inclusion teacher for 3 and 4. Is it K-1, 2, yeah, 3, 4, right. And that's because of the numbers being a little higher at 3 and 4. That's why that split is there at that point. So the issue is that those two teachers have the inclusion, so they go into the classrooms. And we're starting to get to the point where we have almost more special education students in a regular classroom than regular education kids. We're
Okay,
getting
but
to
you
that
can only
point.
put
That's correct.
30% in, right?
That's the current
So
percentage.
that is why you're saying a need for additional teachers, because you're gonna have to provide.
That is part of it, but also we're getting beyond the individual teacher's caseload cap. There is a cap to the number of students the teacher can have on their caseload. And so, that fluctuates depending on whether or not they have a classroom aide or not. The numbers fluctuate, but it's anywhere from 10 to 17 depending on the type of class, the type of kids, and the classroom aid. So we have 3 of our special education classrooms now, I'm sorry, 2 of them. We already have our special education teachers at 17 now, before we've even moved forward, all right? They're at that point. The other 2 is the intellectually challenged classes that is not, has a lower threshold of number of students, but we're okay in that area. So that's not necessarily a need. And then we have third and fourth grade, 2, 3, and 4, sorry, 2, 3, and 4, self-contained class at LaSalle, where those students need more than 50% of their day needing its services. So we have that classroom, and it right now is, I think we have leeway of about 3 students. So if any of those inclusion kids start to need more services and they go over that 50% threshold, then we got to put them in that self-contained classroom. Their numbers are going to be they're going to be skewed. The problem here at Parkview is that we have the same issue as far as numbers are concerned, but also the type of students that we have here. We have students who have more intensive needs in curriculum areas and instructional areas, and there's a possibility, and we're discussing these things for the need of a self-contained classroom here at Parkview, as well as the inclusion classroom. And so the numbers are, it's not necessarily a numbers game here as much, but it is the type of kids we have. That we've been trying to keep them inclusion, and you've tried to keep them in the regular classroom and helping them along, and they're at the point where they've tipped the scale, and now their achievement is too far behind to be in the regular education classroom and succeed. So that's the scale here. And we are having an administrative meeting this Friday, actually, to look at that specific need here at Parkview. So I hear that you would like to have the number of teachers in the classroom, number of aides in each classroom with number of students. I will give you the class or caseload, classroom and caseload regulations from the State Board of Education regarding how many students can be in one classroom at a time, and for inclusion and self-contained. Is there anything else?
We have 2 self-contained classrooms. Where would you put them? Do we have the extra rooms?
At Parkview,
Parkview's probably not a problem, but LaSalle,
we have an empty classroom right now.
maybe.
It is being used for therapy. That's where the occupational and physical therapists were performing their therapy. They would just have to move.
Right.
So, yeah.
Unless there's further
Don't think I'm happy about this, ladies. But there's nothing we can do.
further discussion. Then we need a motion for adjournment, please.
Make the motion to adjourn at 8:46.
And the second was by
Mrs. Reagan.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Linda Bailey.
Aye.
Pam Reiner.
No, I'm sorry.
Brenda Cagle.
Sorry.
Val Reagan. Julie True. Rebecca Kern. Judy Strong.
Do you want these back?
Motion carried.